Assalamu alaikum. Let me begin by wishing you peace and all good things from God. Data from the Bureau of Economic Analysis shows that in 2017, about $970 billion was spent on food production, while $1.6 trillion, almost double, was expended in the publishing, arts, and entertainment sectors. Let me say that again. $1.6 trillion was spent on telling and consuming stories. The stories that we are told and those that we tell ourselves determine how we view the past and think about the future, where we are going as individuals and peoples, what is possible and what is not possible, and very importantly, who are our friends and who are our enemies, who it is that we should welcome and who we should fear, exclude, drive away, or even kill. Stories are the most powerful mover in human affairs. All the isms and phobias, sectarianism, racism, anti-Semitism, fascism, and Islamophobia, all are rooted in the stories we tell about the other. This has always been the case, but the difference today is that social media magnifies the power of stories by degrees unimaginable in the past. Fake news and negative memes spread across the globe in a day. No longer does the old ditty hold true that sticks and stones can break your bones, but names will never harm you. Today, names can cause a whole nation to rise up against you. Names can trample your civil rights. Names can make others indifferent to your plight. That is an enormous power, and therefore a great responsibility. Individuals have more leverage than ever to do both good or great harm by the stories we tell, and why the storytelling we all engage in, now more than ever before, must be moral. Perhaps in anticipation of this, a timeless dictate such as the Ten Commandments includes one rule particularly important for our time. After being forbidden to kill or commit adultery or steal, the Commandments 6, 7, and 8, comes Commandment 9. Thou shalt not bear false witness. That means that the very basis for being a good person, in addition to not stealing or killing one another, is to be moral storytellers. One immoral and harmful storyline that has been repeated time and time again in movies and television is that Muslims want to kill non-Muslims. It is repeated so often it is taken as truth. Yet the truth is that the number one target of terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS are not Westerners, but other Muslims. In fact, according to one UN study, 93% of all the victims who have been killed by ISIS and Al-Qaeda in the last decade were Muslims. It is the Muslim world that is the primary target of these terrorist organizations, though you would not be blamed for not knowing that because of the prevailing plotline casts Muslims as the perpetrators of terrorism instead of being what they actually are, which is the overwhelming victims of it. Moral stories break stereotypes and find the counterintuitive ideas that make lie of all the harmful isms and phobias that exist. But it is hard. The temptation to bear false witness is so prevalent that it found its way onto Moses' tablets 4,000 years ago. And never more tempting than in today's very divisive times, when immoral storytelling has become the predominant way we tell and consume stories about the other. That is why the film The Sultan and the Saint is having such an impact around the world. The story of a simple Christian friar named Francis of Assisi and a beleaguered Muslim ruler, the Sultan of Egypt, in the midst of the crusade, chose to ignore the immoral stories each side was telling about the other and cross the battle lines and meet each other and tell different stories, ones that recognize the common humanity of the other. And with those stories in mind, Francis and the Sultan of Egypt met each other with compassion, and in that meeting, changed the world. That is the power of moral storytelling. It can do more than save your soul. It can change the world. All of you can be agents for the good, simply by the stories you tell. I'm Alex Kronemer. I'm not a great religious scholar or the best Muslim I know, but I've met some, and I want to share a little of what they've taught me with you.